Hello and welcome to Hero Wars Info. My name is Ryan. My goal is to make sure you're the most efficient Hero Wars player and get to the top of your server as far as you can go. So please, if you like these type of videos, go ahead, like, and subscribe so that I can keep on producing them. Today, I want to talk about pets, specifically which pets you should be focusing on, which ones I think are the best, and which ones are going to be helping the most in battles and for patronage. For those that don't know, there are 10 pets in Hero Wars, and this doesn't really get talked about that much. So I wanted to make sure we had kind of a deep dive into each pet, what they do well, and where they kind of see the most usefulness. So let's go ahead and start probably with the team pet that I use the most. That's going to be Axel. So Axel is a pet that is a little bit of a helps healing, but for the most part, they are a defensive pet to limit damage. And you can see that with this patronage effect. Axel protects the owner from powerful attacks, basically making sure that they can't die from a single attack. And if you have him maxed out, it gets up to close to 45%, where the damage from a single attack cannot exceed over that percentage. Now, why is this good? Is because there's a lot of heroes that can have a crazy crit and kill you. Like, for example, I use Axel on Celeste quite a bit, just to make sure, because Celeste is standing at the front of the line, or pretty close to the front. You want to make sure that she doesn't die from, like, let's say, a Dante, who can do a ton of damage quick. With Axel on her, Dante can't kill her unless he does 3 hits, or if there's other damage, maybe 2 at the maximum. But it definitely stops him from killing her on the first attempt, which then she'll be able to do her ult and move forward. It also helps, it applies a buff where if you have him as your main team pet, that distributes physical and magical damage taken by allies, which is very good to make sure that your team is not dying. That's always one of the best. And then the healthy snack basically puts this under the person who has the lowest health, and it helps increase healing that's received for 10 seconds. So it's by 50%, which is pretty solid. So like this pet can also help with healing while stopping damage. Now, Axel is my go-to pet for my team patronage. Or, I'm sorry, for my team pet, not patronage. I do use him on patronage quite a bit, as mentioned with Celeste. But Axel is just a great all-around pet. If you are brand new to Hero Wars and you're just starting to play, Axel would definitely be a contender for the first pet that you want to level. Now, let's go ahead and go to probably my second most useful team pet, and that is going to be Chorus. So, one of the biggest things in Hero Wars is making sure that your heroes are not getting stopped, either stunned, put asleep, anything like that. Sebastian, as a hero, does an amazing job of this. However, if you don't have a very leveled Sebastian, or for whatever reason you can't use him, such as if you are in a Clash of Worlds fight, Chorus is a very useful alternative. Chorus provides a resilience aura, and you can see here that it basically provides an ability that will convert some magic damage into a shield. I'm sorry, that's their patronage skill. It's right here, the Flock's Vengeance, where they charge a rune in the runic circle, and then it stops certain control effects. Now, it does that for silence, charm, blinding, stun, and mind control. So a lot of the effects that you're going to see, Chorus is going to just be able to stop in their tracks. Now, one of his notable weaknesses is Jorgen's ability to just take away energy. That actually doesn't stop, while Sebastian's shield does. But Chorus is still amazing as the team pet just because of this ability to stop control effects from happening. You can see here it also enables each ally to block certain control effects. And then it will basically, that happens due to the runes that gets charged. And then the Resilience Aura, this one is not as good. So, and there really isn't that many heroes that he can be a patronage for. Most of these are mages. I usually have Chorus, is the only time I use him for patronage is with my Aiden. But other than that, he really doesn't have that many that you're going to put him on. For the most part, there are others that are going to be better at patronage effects, but his team pet ability is really good. So if you're not planning on leveling up Sebastian, make sure you level up Chorus as a nice alternative. All right, now let's go ahead and move over to Albus. Now, Albus is essential for any form of PvE, specifically the Ascension bosses. So Maestro and Osh, Albus is going to be the pet that you're going to use 100 times out of 100. And the reason for that is he has this skill right here. Albus strikes at the enemy with the highest health, dealing pure damage. And right here, the Breath of the Ancients takes 3 seconds to charge and gains bonus damaging depending on all the pure damage dealt to the enemy team while the skill is charging. So if he starts charging and your team does a lot of crits and does a ton of pure damage, which Sebastian really goes well with this, then he can release and do a significant amount of damage to whoever he is facing. So Albus is a great pet for that. Now his patronage skill is also very, very helpful. So he's one of the best patronage heroes. He increases pure damage dealt by the master. So again, you put him on Sebastian, you put him on other heroes that deal pure damage. He can be absolutely vital to those teams. Now, we talked about 3, Axel, Albus, Chorus. Who should you level first? That's going to be hard. It's going to have to be your decision. They each all have kind of their big effects of being a team pet, and it depends kind of more on your goals. If you're wanting to focus primarily on PvE, then I would say go with Albus. I think Chorus is more versatile in the PvP scenarios, but if you have a Sebastian, then you don't really need Chorus as much, and Axel would be the best. So that's kind of the order that I would go. Now let's talk about other pets that are really good, mostly because of their patronage abilities. We're going to start with Kane here. So if you have a physical attacking team, or really just dodging heroes, Kane is going to be essential because of this skill right here. Dark Patron. Master gains bonus energy for each successful dodge. Now, dodge teams have gone down in recent days just because of Lyria, but they still can be very effective against the right teams. So any hero that dodges a lot, and you want them to have extra energy, this is going to be a great hero to have their patronage skill. Personally, I always have Kane on my Aurora. Like, Aurora, unless Lyria is there, will be able to dodge up a storm, because it's going to be giving so much extra energy to her, so that she can ult a ton, she'll do a ton of damage there too. You'll always see Kane on Dante, for the most part, especially if he's in the front, so that Dante can charge and do a lot of his attacks. So very, very good in terms of patronage ability. He does also provide extra dodge and physical attack as the patronage effect as well. So, especially for Dante who does physical attack, it's just kind of a double bonus. And then if you do use him for your team pet, there is a few reasons why you should or could. Number one is if you're fighting a Rufus and you have kind of somewhat of a magic team, somewhat of a physical attack team, you can wait for Kane until Rufus gets down low in health and then use his primary ability, the Night Fangs. And that might kill Kane, or it might kill Rufus just using that. I've done this plenty of times. You do have to fight in manual mode, but that can help because this is a physical attack skill. And then this just increases dodge for the entire team, which is a nice to have. So if you are doing a big dodge team, Kane is going to be pretty vital there. Next up, we have Oliver. Oliver is kind of known to be the tank patronage because he allows people to heal themselves if their health drops below 50%. And most of the time, tanks are going to be taking the most damage. So that is why he is really good. He also increases health and armor, which are great for tanks. Now, if you do use him as a team pet, he is going to help restore health with his first ability. And then there also is healing a hero with the lowest health. While it's not bad, he is not a bad pet at all. I think these big three, and I would qualify these as the big three for the team pets, Axel, Course, and Albus, they're better. So I wouldn't suggest leveling Oliver up until you have gotten all three of these done. Next up, let's go ahead and talk about Merlin. I never use Merlin for my team pet. The skills that Merlin does are not the best. Like decreases magic defense, that's okay, and just strikes the front line with some magic damage, but it's not enough really to be a difference maker. But what Merlin is very good at is if you pair him up with the right hero, his patronage skill can really help that hero do damage. So the patronage grants increased speed to the master's magic damage dealing skills, 50%. Now, if you look at the patronage, he also adds magic attack, magic penetration. Now, I'm going to tell you, this is amazing with Orion. I do not put any other patronage skill with Orion, because Orion already moves fast. This just speeds up Orion even more, and these are the stats that Orion needs to be a very good hero. So if you have a Orion team, Merlin is the perfect pet to build out for that. However, I still probably would build, obviously, the big three out first, and dependent on my team, maybe even Oliver or Kane. The next up, we have Vex. Vex's patronage is really good. It basically is a stackable ability that I think he only applies to marksmen for the most part, or you can only put him on marksmen. Yeah, that looks right. But this ability basically stacks and adds additional damage each time that they get hit. So very solid, but the thing that kind of sets him apart is he also adds physical attack and armor penetration as his patronage bonus effects, which are amazing for any physical attacking hero, especially in the backline, those that need to have a ton of more armor penetration. Now, when we talk about like the team pet skill, I've never used him as a team pet. I don't think he's very good as a team pet. Of course, every single pet can have their uses, but the big three are going to be significantly better. This one is going to be cursing the opponent with the least health, and this one is creating a cloud that decreases the armor of opponent and does some physical damage. It's okay, just there are much better choices for your team pet for survivability. Then after that, we have Mara. Let's go ahead and talk about Mara. If you are wanting to do a control team, Mara is going to be essential for you. You can see here that Mara, as a patronage, increases the duration of stun, blinding silence, slow charm, and mind control effects inflicted by the master. Basically, if you're doing anything with control team, this skill is going to make those teams very deadly and increase those durations significantly. So if you do decide I like control teams and you're not worried about Sebastian or Chorus, Mara is a great pet to level up. Now, if you do have her as your main pet, then you can see her abilities deal magic damage to all enemies, and they basically take additional damage if they are under control effects. And then also Mara has a charm that forces an opponent to fight on her side for 3 seconds, which isn't terrible, again, in the right situations. Next up, we have Biscuit. So Biscuit is, you can kind of think of, if you think of Oliver over here as the healing hero, Biscuit is the anti-healer for the opponent's team. As a patronage effects, it will remove or reduce the healing received by an enemy for 5 seconds, by 30%, which is nice, makes opponent's team easier to kill. But you can also see if you use Biscuit for your main team, he can deal magic damage and prevent enemy from receiving any healing from anyone but themselves for 5 seconds, and then also throw snowballs, and then that snowball will deal magic damage and slow the target that heals himself. So when is Biscuit good to be used? If you have a team that is going to be has 2, maybe even 3 healers, Biscuit is a great team pet because he will slow down that healing pretty significantly and hamper it and basically disrupt the entire team. As a patronage skill, Biscuit also does add magic, attack, and armor, which are not the worst stats to add. So I do use him as a patronage pretty often with a few different teams. And this can also help reduce healing. So overall, a positive, good hero. You can see here I'm actually trying to level him up. I'm getting close to max with him, but not quite. Now, lastly, let's talk about Fenrris. So Fenrris is pretty widely considered to be the worst pet because his ability of blinding, while it can be good, it's pretty easily counterable. Like if they have Sebastian, if they have Chorus, if they have other heroes that stop those effects, his effect on the patronage doesn't do that much. And you can see here, blinding an enemy, that can be stopped immediately too. Taking extra damage when they're blinded. Again, if they're blinded, great. If they're not, then he's pretty worthless as a team pet. Now, I will use him as patronage, but that's just because these stats, the physical attack and armor penetration, can be very good to physical attacking heroes. So a lot of times I'll actually use him on Ishmael whenever I'm fighting, or even Xing Mao, but usually I like to use Kane on Xing Mao. Ishmael is probably the number one I use him the most on. Just hoping for a blind if they don't have Sebastian, or an early blind, something like that, that will help my team out. But for the most part, if you are going to be leveling up pets and you haven't finished yet, Fenrris is going to be very low on the totem pole. So let's talk about ordering. I've already brought it up. You want to level up Albus, Axel, Chorus first. Those are the big 3. If you have a dodge team, Kane needs to be up there. Otherwise, if you don't care about dodge, Kane will be at the bottom of that list. Oliver, always good to level up for almost all tanks. So he would probably be number 4, dependent on your team composition. Unless you are doing a control team, in which case Mara should definitely be up there as well. Now, the pets that you can kind of wait a little bit on are Merlin, Vex, and Biscuit. And I would put probably Fenrris at the very bottom. But Biscuit and Merlin, they're very situational, so they can be very good. Merlin specifically for patronage, and Biscuit specifically for healing teams. But those are teams that I usually can beat regardless. So it's not something that I absolutely need. So Vex also, like, his patronage is really good for the bonus effects, but he's not an essential pet to build up. I am hoping that they're going to be releasing a new pet before the end of the year. That's kind of what I want to see built out. I'm almost maxed on my pets. I just need to finish these 2 and this one up for level 3, and then I'll be there. I think it would be a great addition to the game. We haven't had a new pet, and I think it's been almost 2 years. I think it was October of 2023, if I remember correctly, whenever we got our last pet. So would love to see a new pet come into the game. But hopefully this was helpful in kind of giving you an idea of the types of pets to use and which scenarios and which ones you should be leveling up. If you have any questions, comments, disagree, or agree, go ahead and put them in the comments section below. Would love to hear your feedback. Thanks so much for watching.